And then you did what? You threw the Senate at him? Oh, hey, Ian, I gotta go. We're starting the show. No, I know you're excited ever since Bill told you about our podcast at Comic-Con last week, but we really gotta get going here. I know you played Palpatine, but... Okay, FaceTime later? Okay, bye. Welcome back to the Resistance broadcast. It is our Thursday show. Thank you for hanging out with us today. My name is John Hoey. We're going to get into a lot in this one, as we need to find out if the Force is with us over several topics, including diversity on the dark side of the Force. We're also going to get into a deep dive discussion on what we think the upcoming Star Wars live action series will be about and when it will take place. But before we get rolling, please say hello there to James Bainey, Patrick Covey, and Bill Sheehy. Gentlemen, how are you?
Hello, nurse. I actually never really liked the Animaniacs that much, but whatever you just said just reminded me of it, so I had to throw it in there. What's up, guys? Star Wars.
Smashingly good. Yes, I've had quite a gentleman's time. Thank you very much.
Doing okay. You know, since Ian McDiarmid and I became best friends last week at Lexington Comic-Con, it just... life just feels much more grand. The daisies are blooming. It's just, everything's good.
That is absolutely beautiful to hear. And I think we're going to touch a little bit more about that in a little bit. I just have some kind of Force psychic feeling on that. So why don't we figure out if the Force is with us? Bill, what do you got for us this week?
In the words of the late, great Samuel L. Jackson, take a seat. First story today. So, Star Wars Rebels is over. Lucasfilm and fans are looking ahead to the future of Star Wars television series, both live action and animated. And all signs point to Filoni sticking with the television side of Star Wars. But the question is, does he make the transition to live action storytelling, or does he stay in animated? So after a decade of running 2 animated Star Wars series, very popular animated Star Wars series, it's time for Dave Filoni to hand off the next animated series and join Jon Favreau to work on the live-action Star Wars series. Is the Force with you, Pat?
The Force is with me for Filoni to move up to live action, but here's the truth of the matter. I think this dude's staying in animation for one more series at least. He's still got some stories to tell there, and there's some stuff he can do and take some liberties where he normally can't do that in a live-action setting. I love the stuff he set up at the end of Season 4 of Rebels. It really took some new expansive directions for the entire brand, and I think that's good for them to be able to pull that off in animation, and maybe we'll see that in live action soon.
John Hoey, do you agree with him? Is the Force with you on this?
Yes, the Force is with me. It's time for Filoni to move on. Star Wars and the storytellers are all about, moving forward and growing, and that's Dave Filoni's been a big part of this for doing animated series for them for over a decade now. 2 successful ones, especially Rebels. I think really just he was able to bookend that thing the way he wanted to, and it may have just given him some closure that he was looking for, because Clone Wars didn't really end the way I think he was hoping. Now, you're bringing in Jon Favreau, and while he's toyed with Star Wars by doing some voices and stuff, he hasn't really been a part of writing Star Wars and creating Star Wars. Who better to do a TV show to collaborate with you to develop a series than Dave Filoni? So not only do I think this is a good idea, I think it's definitely going to happen. I think Filoni is going to be very involved in this upcoming live action series, and if it does wind up happening, I'm very pumped about it. So 100%. The Force is with me on him making the move.
And finally, James Bainey, is the Force with you?
Well, I like where John was coming from, where like if you have Jon Favreau, you could also have Dave Filoni. But I do think that I have to agree mostly with Pat on this. I think that there's something going on behind the scenes, and I think that even though we as fans want Filoni to do it, I don't know if he has that name yet, that draw, all that stuff. And I think just like the average person, who you say, hey, Dave Filoni has been announced as the next live action director. People are like, who? And like Star Wars fans are like, yay. But like most people don't know that. You say Jon Favreau and everybody's like, yay. Right? So I think there's something going on with that. And that could be why they decide to maybe stick him around. But they might be able to put the Star Wars animated series on a bigger platform if they do it in a different way. I don't know, maybe they can upgrade, maybe they can make it CG, but like not cartoony CG, and they can make it feel live action or something. I don't know. I think that he's probably got to stay there, but the Force is with me for him to be handed it if that is the case, I guess.
Such conviction out of Aunt Baney there.
Yeah, if he gets handed it, I'm good with it, but I think that honestly it's not going to happen, so I guess the Force is not with me.
The Force is with me on this, and while I think that Pat and James, you make some really good points, and I think it would make sense for him to do the next animated series, I think that I just have a gut feeling that he's going to be involved in this new live action series in some capacity. And you know what? I'll just go ahead and say it. The first person who's not Jon Favreau to direct it, because I think that Favreau may direct the first or second episodes of the series. I think Filoni will direct at least one of the episodes of the live action series. So the Force is with me on that. All right, on to the next one. So there is a lot of talk about Star Wars needing to diversify behind the camera with more diversity in their choice of writers and directors. But one area where we've also seen no diversity is in front of the camera in regards to the main villains in the films. They've all been dudes. We've got Palpatine, crusty white guy. Vader, crusty white guy. Snoke, crusty white guy. Count Dooku, very elegant crusty white guy. In addition to Maul and Kylo Ren. So here's my pitch to you guys. Rian Johnson or Benioff and Weiss's upcoming Star Wars series of films should have a female main villain. Is the Force with you, John?
100% yes again. 2 for 2, very strong on this. Just change it up. Like, it'd be a fresh take, and it's something that we haven't seen in Star Wars before. So let's go for it. Let's do it. Get some, awesome actress in there to absolutely kill it. Doesn't necessarily even have to be a Force user, but go crazy with it. Open the doors, kick the doors open. Let's do this thing. A lot of crusty old white men, a lot of mothball smelling villains eating hard candies. Let's change it up a bit. So yeah, man, 100% the Force is with me. Let's do it.
James Baney, is the Force with you on this?
So this one's kind of tricky because to me personally, I don't care. I don't care if it's a male or a female, because I think the same way I didn't care with Rey that she was female. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have thought anything of it. They just presented a female character and I said, yeah, this character's cool. I like it. Let's go with it. So I don't really think there needs to be like does it have to be a female main villain? I don't know. I'm not really PC when it comes to that kind of stuff. I just think like just whatever it is, I'll just take it for what it is. As far as it being a villain, I don't know. Do you think that sets up any sort of thing that says like, well, the hero is a guy and the villain or the bad guy is a female? Or do you think right now the best thing to do is if you're bringing in females to make them the hero and make the guys the bad guys? I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you think that...
If you look at Thor Ragnarok, though, I mean, the main villain in that was Hera, and I think that she was pretty good in that.
Yeah, okay, that's a good... Because I don't care. I didn't care that she was female, And the other thing is that...
Rita Repulsa in the Power Rangers.
Oh, that was awful. Yeah. It wasn't awful because she was a woman. It was awful because Elizabeth Banks did a terrible job. I'm sorry.
Oh, I meant the TV show.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I forgot they made that movie.
No, that movie's good except for her. Yeah.
She went straight from 10 to 13. So.
She thinks she's in the old TV show and nobody else does.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm. It's awful. The movie's great. I love all the characters in it. I love the story they told. I love the the direction that they went with it. She is just so bad in it. Anyway.
So the Force is with you.
The Force doesn't matter to me.
Okay. Well, that's good. All right. Anyway, welcome to the Star Wars podcast.
Yeah.
So, Pat, is the Force with you on this?
Yeah, the Force is with me, and last time I checked, General Grievous was a crusty white alien. So,
yeah,
take that into consideration. But yeah, I'm down for any sort of female antagonist. I mean, like James was saying, though, if you present us with a good character, the fans are going to eat that crap up, whether it's a guy, a girl, or of any ethnicity. We're just going to eat the hell out of that. And so I think that's good. And of course, don't forget, we did get Asajj Ventress in the animated series. It was a very well-received female antagonist. And I think that worked very well. And if Lucas can pull that off with Dave Filoni, I feel like they can do that in the current era, and that's something good moving forward. If you see somebody like that, and maybe like the Old Republic stuff coming up possibly, or some new story down the line, go for it.
Absolutely. And I'm going to agree with pretty much everyone on this. The Force is with me. I think that with the caveat that I don't want it to be a one-dimensional villain, kind of like your worst Marvel villain, like Thor the Dark World's villain or Ant-Man's villain. I just think that you can do... Asajj Ventress is a great example because I think she's such a complex character. And I think what made her so compelling was she wasn't just like, I'm evil. It's like you understood kind of her motivations and stuff like that. So I feel like it's very important for that to happen. So the Force is with me.
And plus, Bill, not to add another thing here, but I'm trying to make this episode as long as possible. James
exactly. Well done. Well done.
Like kids love the dark side. Like my nephews love Vader. They love Kylo Ren. Like give little girls a badass, like awful person to root for. Like,
John Hoey wants to get
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyway, absolutely. On to the next one. So I had the honor and privilege of representing the podcast this year at Lexington Comic-Con in Lexington, Kentucky, and I got the chance to ask Ian McDiarmid, aka Emperor Palpatine, a question. So I asked him if he would want to return to play the Emperor in a live-action feature or series, if given the opportunity. And he really, really dug the question. It was really kind of a surreal moment to like say, Bill Sheehy with Star Wars Newsnet's Resistance broadcast, and then him answer the question. But he said he talked a little bit about he heard about the live-action series, but what I'm trying to say, at the end of it, he said, which garnered a lot of applause, he would absolutely love to come back and to play the Emperor if they would ask him to. So I'm really excited to hear that. So let me pitch you guys this.
And by the way, Bill, your question got quite the applause in the video, by the way, before he even answered it. So
yeah, I was really kind of like taken aback by that, but anyway, let's here's my pitch for you guys. So we know that Ian McDiarmid is obviously on board with reprising his role as Palpatine in a live action setting. Is the Force with you that Lucasfilm should find a way to involve him in an upcoming series or film? Or is it time for Star Wars content to move on from the Emperor? James.
They need to figure out a way to get him back into a TV show or something along the lines. He needs to show up somewhere. I know he was just in Rebels and he did a great job there. But I mean, we're talking live action here, and to see him, reprise that role in some like dark and sinister way. I mean, I don't know. For some reason, I'm just picturing like the end of episode 3, and it's like all of a sudden we get this hint that the Emperor might be showing up, and it's like, you're sitting in your living room, you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to stream episode 4. This is getting so insane. And then episode 4, he shows up, and it's just like, oh man, I could foresee that being so awesome and so cool, because his character has the potential to, I know he's only around for a certain time span, but I think even if they wanted to go like the younger route with him, I don't know if he'd be able to do it or not. Can he at this age play a younger version of himself?
I don't think you need to,
because he looked. Play it. I know what I'm saying though is this could be the who's the guy that they always say Snoke is? Plagueis.
Plagueis, yeah.
This could be the Plagueis kind of thing, and then potentially, but I don't know. I think if they were going to do that,
Kurt Russell him and do the anti-aging.
There you go. Yeah, they could do that. But that you don't want to show about Palpatine and Plagueis, and you're like trying to 3D animate this dude's face every episode. That'd be insane. But dude, if he shows up just like a dark and evil, Emperor, man, Force is with me.
Patrick, is the Force with you?
Yeah, the Force is with me as long as the story makes sense for him to appear. I don't want him just kind of tossed in for the sake of Palpatine being there. If you're going to put him in, there better be a good reference. And Filoni made this very evident in the animated shows. He sparingly used Palpatine so that you almost feel like his presence is kind of in the air. People talk about him, but he does not necessarily need to appear. Just having that looming threat is sometimes even better than him actually appearing on screen. It's kind of cool to have that. But I'm kind of worrying a little bit like James, if it's going to be kind of like the James Earl Jones situation like we got in Rogue One, where it's Vader, it sounds like Vader, but you can tell he's aged a little bit, And I do worry about that a little bit. I don't know how much they changed or maybe mixed with that Rebels episode, the 2 Rebel episodes he was in. So I don't know if his original voice is made for live action. I mean, we got to see how he jumps from the soundstage to the set.
If I can input here, he did some like his like famous lines, and like it sounded like it was coming straight from the movie. So like he did "I am the Senate," and it literally it was like, okay, he's the Senate, and this is Revenge of the Sith. I'm here.
So no mixing involved. That's good to hear.
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't lost a step at all. But anyway, I continue.
That gives me a little bit of faith that they could actually still make this happen. It's good. I think it's more of the visual aspect than it is the audio. And with today's technology and computers, I mean, heck, you got ILM working on this stuff. They can easily make him look younger if they have to.
Absolutely. And finally, John, is the Force with you on The Emperor returning?
Dude, 300% 3 for 3 this week, man. So 100% yes. You have Ian McDiarmid. He is about 73 years old. You get him involved as much as you possibly can until he decides to retire, man. He's clearly one of those actors where he doesn't feel he's too big for it or too beyond it, or he's done it and he's tired of it. In his response to you, he seemed very impassioned that he loves this. He loves doing it. He loves that the fans love it. That really means a lot to me as a fan. And like you were saying, his voice sounds perfect. You figure it out, make it happen. I would like, and I have to disagree with Pat here a little bit. Like, I don't care if it doesn't fit the story. He's the Emperor, dude. If he wants to show up somewhere, he'll show up somewhere.
He's
like,
the largest presence in the galaxy. Exactly.
Exactly. So if he pops up in Solo, I will mark out more than anybody in the theater, dude. Give me Palpatine. I haven't seen this guy in screen on live action in 13 years. Let's do it while we can. He's on board. I love it. I'm on board. I just talked to him in the intro, my phone call with him. I mean, he's all in, man. The Force is with me. Let's do it.
Absolutely. And you know, I'll talk a little bit more about my experience with what really struck me about Ian was just kind of how like he was so like really, really down to earth. He was really funny, really charming, which is kind of disconcerting when like you know the character he plays, because like it could be part of a ruse, but at the same time, like just hearing him talk and like John said, he's down and he wants to do it, and like he, as soon as like in the video, like as he's looking at me as I'm mentioning it, like him coming back, his eyes kind of like lit up a little bit. Like it may be hard to see in the video, but like he looked directly at me and he was like, "Ooh," and so like yeah. The Force is 155.66% with me. That's really, really specific. But at the end of the day, it's with me. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you. Thank you so much for taking a seat. John, what's our topic today?
Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
All right, well, we've been talking about this a lot, and it has to do with this live action series that's coming up on the streaming service. So we know Jon Favreau's involved, and we were just touching on the fact that maybe Filoni's involved. Will Palpatine be involved? You know, so let's have a discussion about it. We're not going to have a Star Wars war this week. Let's just have a discussion on what we think, based on info we may know or business reasons, what we think this first opening live-action Star Wars series, which may be the first of many, is going to be about, when it's going to take place, all that stuff. So let's talk about it.
My first thing right off the bat is what I guess like kind of what isn't it, like what is Rian Johnson doing? Because if he's doing something like you know, the Plagueis story like we were just talking about, then Favreau's not, you know what I'm saying? Right. So yeah. but my actual, when I look at this, I think, okay, I really think they're handing the reins to Rian. I think he's getting something, and it's not, we can't even speculate. It's just something so completely different. Then I start looking at Benioff and Weiss, and I'm like, all right, this could potentially be something. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe like, you know, bounty hunter stuff, like kind of an ongoing series. Maybe that's the Knights of the Old Republic stuff. But my thing is I also think they're going to kind of touch in some other areas. So when it comes to Favreau and he's doing the TV series, that's where I think the Knights of the Old Republic thing is, man. I think that, really? My personal thing is, I know it seems weird you got the Game of Thrones guys. Why aren't you doing that with Knights of the Old Republic? But my thing is I think this show could be done It's got a little bit of a lower budget, so you're going to need someone who already knows all the tips, all the tricks to make some of the best special effects and blue screen skills you possibly can to bring that world to life. And there's nobody better right now than, I mean, don't get me wrong, Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis is out there. But the thing is that Andy Serkis right now is working on his own Jungle Book. So you got to do the original Jungle Book guy. You got to do the Lion King creator that he's doing right now. I mean, that makes sense. That world is so vivid and so real, and it's all done on a soundstage. How is that even possible? Literally 100% of that movie, Mowgli aside, was all special effects.
I get that, but I don't know, the whole Knights of the Old Republic thing, it's like, sometimes I feel, and it's based on nothing, but I feel sometimes Lucasfilm hears a lot of chatter about one thing, and they're like, let's not do that. Like,
do you think that's like the Knights of the Old Republic, or do you think that's the KOTOR then, or because?
Yeah, I just feel like everyone keeps talking about that every time a new series and stuff comes up, and I feel almost like Pablo Hidalgo like smugly just like ignores it. Like, I don't know.
No, you know what I think it is, man? I think that Lucasfilm is like, okay, that's a property we have in our back pocket whenever we need to do it. For now, right now, while we have the whole universe is at our fingertips, we're going to bring in a director, and you're bringing in someone like Rian Johnson, and you're saying, hey, you get to work on Star Wars, or J.J. Abrams, you get to write what happened to Luke Skywalker. They're like, what? You know, I get to do like whatever the heck I want. You know what I mean? And I think that is just too enticing to them, that they want to finish these stories, and then you have the other guys and they're like, okay, we don't want it to be anything related to this. It's not Han Solo, it's not Rogue One, it's open book, and the people are like, yes, I get free reign to do anything I want with Star Wars. Like, I don't know, I think they're just waiting. They're just sitting on Knights of the Old Republic, and it will happen because it's too awesome. I'm sorry, it's too awesome.
It's not known enough. It's not known enough for something.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter, dude. It matters a lot.
It does.
I'll tell you.
It's not that hard.
Let me tell you why.
It's not that hard to convey the message. Okay, this is ancient Jedi. This isn't the Jedi you're used to.
Yeah.
This is from a.
Okay,
but
this
is older.
Try to get out of the bubble though.
No,
and
I'm not.
I know we're getting a little Star Wars war-y here, and I'm probably causing that. But hear me out, because I think KOTOR, aka Knights of the Old Republic, that stuff is very foreign to the average Star Wars fan.
It absolutely is.
The average Star Wars family who may entertain buying this streaming service when it opens next year. I think Disney, when they meet with shareholders and Lucasfilm, are saying we need a golden goose here. We need to draw people into the streaming service. How do we do that? It's Darth Vader.
I think Star Wars is the golden goose to begin with. I think people are going to come to it no matter what, because you look at Rogue One, we didn't.
Not if you
with the exception of Vader. I mean, who did we know? We didn't know anybody, and that was.
They advertised the movie with Darth Vader and the Death Star and Tarkin.
I think you advertise a show with Jedis and lightsabers. I think you're going to be okay, but my gut feeling tells me that like this is probably going to be the Underworld movie or TV show that we've always heard about. Which I don't know about you guys, but that just doesn't feel as compelling to me as something like I'd like to see Luke's Jedi Academy.
I think they'll do something like that. I think they will maybe do an Old Republic TV series down the line, not the first one. Yeah. I think they want to get people in the door and get people signed up, and I think they will use Darth Vader for that purpose, and I could see them doing a Jedi Hunter series or something of that magnitude.
John, you have a good point that and I've said this before actually, but like to get people into that streaming service, it makes sense to do a known property thing. You know what I mean? I was talking.
And what if Jon Favreau's like, I don't want to do I don't know what that is. I want to make a Darth Vader series.
Yeah, but then at the same time, you give him the creative freedom, and then he gets to make it his own, and then he basically makes Knights of the Old Republic cool.
But and I'm not 100% on what Bill's saying. I don't think people just come to Star Wars because of Star Wars, but I will say this, that Rogue One was all new characters. I know it was set like in a specific time, but I think that if you were to do a show and you were to say, look, this is this is an underworld show and these are bounty hunters and it's set in the Star Wars universe. So you're going to get like lightsabers every once in a while or whatever. And you do that. I think people are interested in that. And so I think theoretically, if you were to take what they do with the cinematic nature of Knights of the Old Republic and you brought that to live action and you just showed people and you go, we know you don't know what this is. We already know you don't know what this is.
Yeah, but Rogue One's different because
they look at it.
They knew that it was tied into the original Death Star. They marketed that pretty well. Like, if this was a heist movie that took place 2,000 years ago in the galaxy, people would be like, what? Like, I don't care.
Yeah, but
it was the fact that it was tied into the original movie.
I think
but I mean, look, you can do all sorts of science fiction. Like you get the movie Alien or you know, A Space Odyssey 2001. It's just like, I think all those things are new characters, new people. Just the visuals and the story and the idea of the story, or the director, the people who are producing it. All that stuff goes into play. When people look at it, they go, look, that looks cool. I think theoretically, you make a live action Knights of the Old Republic, you put out a trailer and people go, I don't know what this is, but it's got Star Wars on it and it looks really awesome. I feel like that could
anything Disney would do.
Maybe, I mean, you might
not for the first one. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I understand that argument of coming back and saying, like, you know, Darth Vader.
I'm thinking they're gonna go just full board. Like, yeah, I think we'll see Yoda. I think we'll see like bounty hunters. I think we'll see Palpatine. Maybe Sheev will.
You don't think that's overdoing it? You don't think that's like
no.
Here comes the hits.
Think about it.
Obi-Wan, Yoda, and the Darth Vaders.
How long? Yeah, very nice jazz hands. How long is a Star Wars movie? 2 hours?
Yeah.
So you can do a 13 episode series, which is 13 hours. You can stretch that out and get those characters in there, here and there.
Yeah, I understand that. That's true.
That's like 6 Star Wars movies. That's a whole 2 trilogies right there.
All right, so
in a series.
So what's the pitch? We did this actually last week in Star Wars War. Come on, man! You don't get a Hollywood writer to write the story. You got to come up with it right now. Let's go.
All right, so you guys have pretty much been hammering the idea that, and they have said this too, but I think they'll go back on it, that they will never retell a story that they've told in the comics or, you know, whatever.
Never.
But if they're like, like 3% of the Star Wars going audience actually buys comics and reads them. This story about Darth Vader and that's true. It's probably a very small percentage. Let's be honest.
No, I know.
They're probably like, Darth Vader hunting down and slaughtering all the Jedi on a TV series that we can stretch out over the course of 13 episodes. Yeah, let's do that. You know, like think of Bob Iger just seeing like dollar signs in his head, seeing Darth Vader just take that 2-minute scene from Rogue One that everybody loves and said made that movie and make that a series. Yeah. Yep. I'm buying those Disney stocks. I'm buying that streaming service. I'll buy that streaming service twice just in case I forget my password on the first account. So, you know what I mean?
So here's kind of what I think you're doing, because I actually think the Inquisitors, that they're like, we got them in Rebels, but I think the more and more they dive into them, kind of in the Vader comic, that they seem very Knights of the Old Republic in the first place. So you might be right in the sense that they're kind of like, you know, hey, let's let Darth Vader be the lead of this. And then if we want to do some really cool like visual effects with these characters and these Inquisitors and things like that, we could make this show dark and gritty and still feel like it's like lightsabers versus lightsabers.
And you can get Ewan McGregor to pop in briefly.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to have his own movie, so it doesn't matter. So
Didn't we settle that last week?
He has plenty of time to do his own movie now that he got knocked out of the Star Wars March Madness tournament.
Okay, well, you know, there's no Team Obi-Wan, so I can't tag them, John, okay?
You should make one. Pat, what's the series going to be about, in your opinion?
It's as sad as I hate to say this, these guys, they are not diving out of this episode 3 to 4 era anytime soon. It kind of bums me out as like a hardcore fan. It's like, come on, new stories, go new directions. It, dude?
I can picture you sitting down watching Vader just cut people up in the comfort of your own home.
Because we're hardcore fans, of course we're gonna watch it. But
Pat, you're gonna stream that in one sitting from midnight to noon.
I probably would, honestly, but but I would imagine it's like as cool as that would be, like seeing all that stuff on top of all the comic stuff we're getting. Like for me as a hardcore fan, I'd get kind of bored of that really quick. I want some like even if you're gonna play in that era, I would like to see some more of the underworld stuff, some of the grittier stuff that's away from the characters we know.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but
so
still
Bill,
has familiar elements.
You both brought that up. What do you want to see in an Underworld series?
Here's the thing.
The possibilities are endless.
I really don't. I know this is probably like heresy or whatever for Star Wars people, but like I've never found the Underworld to be particularly.
Oh, I thought you said you wanted them to.
No. I said I thought that that's what they were going to do. But my point was I don't think that there are stories there, but like I've never found them like any like. Of like the Underworld characters really that compelling, and even some of the Underworld stuff in the Clone Wars.
Boba Fett. I
mean, exactly. Your point. I mean, what Boba Fett doesn't do anything for me. He's just a little.
Can you do an Underworld story that involves Vader in any way?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. You could tie him in easily, and then tie it in Episode 5 if you wanted to.
Especially since Boba Fett or Vader knows Boba Fett, and he knows these other bounty hunters in Empire Strikes Back. He's worked with them before. He's the kind of guy, even Anakin Clone Wars, Anakin was someone that would be like, it's not really the Jedi way, but I'm going to contact these people, Hondo, I'm going to have him come down, send him some missiles and stuff. Like he's willing to do the illegal thing in order to do the right thing. And then when Vader comes along, he's willing to do the illegal thing to get his way.
The Underworld has only been convincing to me when Jedi are involved.
What about Vader employing bounty hunters to round up Jedi for him?
I mean, that's kind of what the Inquisitor thing is, except for they're Force sensitive.
Yeah,
but using Boba Fett, like another face.
Yeah, again, I mean that's always possible. This is where we're gonna get the disintegrations.
If you get the mixture, there you go. That's a really If you get the mixture of Darth Vader going with bounty hunters and hunting down Jedi, yeah, I'll be in for that. I think that's because it's Darth Vader. It's like 90% Vader and then 10% bounty.
Like I've been saying for a long time, I need to see more of dominant Vader, like kicking ass.
And you can do that
because that's what I'm saying. Like we got that piece a little bit in Rogue One.
I think you could get a good mixture in there, and it would work okay.
Everything else we've seen from Vader is him fighting with his son. Like we just need more Vader, in my opinion. And I know that sounds ridiculous because it's you had 6 movies of Darth Vader.
And even like in the Darth Vader comics that they're doing, the run that they're doing right now, like it's still there are still flashes of Anakin. So the more and more that
until the last issue,
the more and more that you talk about it, like the more I'm like, okay, yeah, I would definitely be down for that because like I said, the Underworld just has never done it for me.
Well, the last issue came out yesterday, and I'm just messing.
It was great.
No spoilers.
No, I've got another possibility, and I don't really know if I feel like this is going to be the case, but I don't know, man. It's possible. It's maybe family oriented. What do you guys think of them casting 3 or 4 teenage kids, and it's like join the rebellion, like rebel teens, and they go on like adventures.
That's
and
what Rebels
stuff.
was.
That's what Rebels is. Yeah,
that I don't think that is what Rebels is, but I mean, I understand where you're coming from with that. But what I'm saying is like a preteen kind of
I don't
thing where these kids like have to go through with their personal issues, their relationship.
That, man.
Yeah, he wouldn't come in to do that.
Favreau wants to be money, baby.
Yeah, I kind of actually, in me coming up with that concept, I kind of forgot about like how Favreau's going to be launching this, and that doesn't really seem like Favreau. I was just thinking that was one of the possibilities they could go with a live action TV show that's an ongoing thing, like kind of a True Blood sort of, you know what I mean? Kind of this teen angst kind of show, but like make it in the Star Wars universe and make it relevant and still have big adventures and special effects and things like that. There's a lot of MTV shows that do those sorts of things. and they get ratings.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think
they
that's
pull people in.
You don't bring in Jon Favreau to do a show like that.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest reason to squash that theory. I'm just throwing it out there because if somebody is sitting there saying like, "Well, why not this?" Like, we're answering that question. Jon Favreau's
you bring in like Kevin Williamson to do that. The guy who did like Dawson's Creek.
Exactly. And this suggestion may
Dawson's Creek in the Star Wars universe. How I Met Your Mother in the Star Wars universe. Like,
and they'll bring in James Vanderbeek.
Yeah, exactly.
This may border and it.
He was in Power Rangers, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He might as well have been.
He was in that fan-made one, but anyway,
that's what I mean.
This may border on like super fanny. But I would not be opposed to them doing a series.
Super Fanny.
Super Fanny.
I'm like Fanny McNee or
Fanny McNee. Exactly. That's the name. That's the title of this episode. But I think that it'd be really, really cool to see you get Sebastian Stan to play young Luke and see him forming his Jedi Temple and cast Finn what's-his-face
awesome.
as Kylo Ren. You know, it's super fanny, like I said, but
it's going to be that thing again where Pablo Hidalgo's like on Twitter, he's like, everyone wants this guy to be Luke Skywalker, so I'm going to kill that idea.
It doesn't have to be like, just give me a Luke Skywalker series with like training a young Ben Solo.
I just don't know if I could see anyone else playing Luke.
So,
like I can't do it, man.
Especially after the Han Solo situation.
If you can have someone play Han Solo, you can have someone play Luke Skywalker.
All right.
Yeah, but you're talking about Luke in between with Mark Hamill bookending it. Like we're going before Harrison Ford with Han Solo. That's different.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's still having someone different playing Luke Skywalker.
So if you watch it in order, it's like 4, 5, and 6. Oh, Mark Hamill. His hair got a little darker. Okay, whatever. Okay. This guy's Luke. Oh, and then you go to Force Awakens. Oh, Mark Hamill's back. Oh, okay.
Well, like cool. Kurt Russell showed us with makeup in Guardians of the Galaxy, you can do some amazing things with makeup. So I mean, I think,
but it was still Kurt Russell.
That's
not makeup. That's special effects. Still,
it was makeup.
No, it's not.
No, special
effects.
Absolutely 100% special effects because it's referenced all the time as one of the things that they have.
Well, actually, I think James, you're close. I think it was a 155.66%.
Yeah. No, it's definitely special effects on the Kurt Russell thing though. I was gonna bring this up though. Okay? I talk a lot about this animated series that Dave Filoni could be working on, and it's, Luke Skywalker teaching Ben Solo. Maybe Ahsoka shows up. Maybe Sabine is in this. Maybe Ezra. Is it possible that we think we have the end of Mark Hamill? Maybe Mark Hamill comes back. Instead of giving him gray hair, they darken his hair. They just kind of make him the in between. Maybe he goes to TV and he does. I mean, he's not opposed to TV. He's doing Gotham.
That's
right?
a good point. Yeah.
Okay.
The Flash.
So they younger him up. They hire a younger Ben. They're not going to get Adam Driver. He has his own career to do. But they get a younger Ben Solo, maybe the kid from Stranger Things, like we've talked about. And
you love Stranger Things.
I think that kid at least has done a few more things than
get Millie Bobby Brown to play a young Leia.
No. Yeah. No, no, but maybe we're all in for a big surprise, and maybe Mark Hamill's not done with Star Wars.
Dude, and you could do Vader flashbacks.
Yeah. I mean,
that'd be cool.
I think Mark Hamill showing up and saying, "Hey, Luke Skywalker's in the show. It's about Luke Skywalker in between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens." There's your pool, the same pool that you would get for Darth Vader, and then you can have Filoni show run it. And say this gives Filoni the opportunity to come in and do a little bit of live action while still telling the character of Sabine, Ahsoka, and we get to see those characters live action. You know what I mean?
What if the last whether it's one season or 2 seasons at the end, somehow you get Adam Driver to get on board at the end and make him...
I mean, I don't see that not being possible. He shows up for the series finale, or he shows up for the season finale episode, or season 3, or whatever. And then for the...
I kind of like that idea.
I think Mark Hamill, that would be a great thing, and I hadn't even thought of that. Which, you look at the makeup and stuff that they did in The Last Jedi, it's still completely plausible that you could put him, say that he's like 55 and it's still...
Maybe Maybe that's why he agreed eventually with Ryan, because he got whispered in his ear, hey, dude, they're going to bring you back in a TV series, so let us just kill you in this movie. And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and flashback to Filoni at Celebration. He's like, I wish I could tell you guys what I'm working on. You know what I mean?
Dude, that guy is so annoying. Imagine having that power and just to be able to annoy people like that. Oh, my God. Just like, I'm going to come out with a different T-shirt next segment.
Yes.
Hey, she lives.
Now, going back to the whole Old Republic situation, it's kind of in a weird sandwichy sort of bind, and that is, with the Old Republic, you have to ask yourself, would it be better as a TV series, or would it be better as like the Benioff and Weiss movie series? Which format would you prefer? If you're going to go the film route, like James was saying earlier, the general movie-going audience isn't going to know what the heck is going on. They'll see Star Wars as the logo brand, but they're like, I got nothing here to reference off of, so there's your first strike there. But if you put it on TV, you may not have big enough budget to make some of the special effects happen that you need for an Old Republic. I know I keep preaching that, but either way you go, it's kind of like a win-lose situation. You're having to give something up there.
Which is why I brought up Favreau, because I think he has the possibility of making full scenes and scenarios and sets in CG.
And that's fine from the production standpoint after they press go and say we're greenlighting this. But Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy sitting in a room like, what's your pitch? And they're like, Knights of the Old Republic. He's like, get out. What's next? What else do you have? And someone else comes in. So Darth Vader hunting down Jedi. All right, this guy can stay. Sit down. Let's talk.
Continue.
It was good to be here. Thank you. Bye.
I need to go talk to the shareholders. What do you got? I think we should do something that we've never seen before, where we have an alien and he turns into this. Get out.
Hey,
what do you
Rian
have?
Johnson did it.
Or he hits the button like Dr. Evil and then they just go into the floor and like burn into a furnace.
Will Ferrell goes into a volcano.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
Yeah.
Now, John, I do want to ask you this. How would you prefer the Old Republic if they did approve it? Like, what format would you prefer that in?
I do it on as their second or third TV series once they're established and Bob's a little more comfortable, you know? Or maybe do an animated series of Knights of the Old Republic. I don't know. I mean, I like the Game of Thrones vibe of making it a medieval style Star Wars. I think they would be cheated if they did it animated. So I'm leaning not movie, although maybe movie. I don't know. If it's not going to be the Benioff and Weiss fellas, give me like the second or third TV series they do. So down the line sometime.
And now thinking about it, if they do it in TV, it can intro a way into them eventually doing movies down the line for that brand.
That's true too. Yep. If you establish a character and really open like the
Revan.
What do they call it? The webbing, the tree branches of characters.
His name won't be Revan, it'll be Ravon.
Ravon, yeah,
Ravon,
they'll make it something weird.
It's like in Family Matters, like Revan goes into the machine and it makes him cool. And when he comes out, he's Ravon.
Oh my, what a deep cut.
All right, guys.
Stefan.
Have we
Urkel becomes Stefan.
Have we talked about every possibility here? Are we one? Do we need to move on?
I mean, we could go,
Talk about-
we could go on forever.
We
but,
don't need a trilogy.
you know.
We've talked a little bit about maybe having a trilogy for this guy, but maybe a Salacious Crumb TV show.
Yeah.
That's a system seller, baby.
I'd be down.
Well, I mean, we need to know what you guys who are listening think. I mean, you've heard our ideas, so be sure to hit us up all on Twitter. You can hit James at Myra Trunks. You can hit Pat at Gannon136. You can hit Bill at Star Wars Bill and me at Johnny Hoey. And let us know how horrible our ideas are. That's the way to get conversations going. Or if you like our ideas, let us know that too. But I'm sure you guys also have different ideas that we haven't even touched on. So leave comments in the YouTube videos and everything and let us know what you guys think about it. And we're obviously going to talk more about this as more light gets shed on this thing. So I don't know, you guys have any final thoughts on, closing thoughts on Jon Favreau's upcoming TV series?
I have a feeling I'm going to like it no matter what it is.
I think they're going to keep that TV 14 rating so that it's still family friendly, but still enjoyable Star Wars.
I'm really excited. Jon Favreau is the dude that I've wanted in Star Wars for forever. And the fact that he's making a TV series, something that's going to go really in depth to whatever it is, I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's just he's such a lock. Like he's such a proven commodity. And if they do wind up bringing Filoni in too, it's just like talk about creating a stud all-star team. So we have a year or so to go to actually see these things, but I know we're all fired up about it. But that does it for our discussion. We kept the gloves on this time, but we had some fun with it. Again, let us know what you guys think. But now it's time to get into what the fans create, not what Disney and Lucasfilm create, what the fans create in our segment called The Resistance Expanded Universe, what fans out there create. Pat, what is going on in our Resistance Expanded Universe this week?
Well, first of all, shameless plug here. We're all fans, and we create t-shirts, specifically James, who does all our wonderful designs. So if you guys want to go check those out, go over to tpublic.com/user/resistance broadcast and pick up some awesome merch. We got some really cool designs we're always adding in there to our store. Let us know what you think. If there's a design you really think is cool that we haven't done, definitely let us know and we can make it happen. Our first share this week comes from John, and this is a ending of TFA recut to show Luke tossing the saber before the credits.
This would have been a ballsy move.
Dude.
Like, can you imagine? Like, it's the first thing we've seen Luke Skywalker. We have that amazing introduction, and then it's just like, nope, and then roll credits. Like,
Yeah, no cliffhangers. Yeah. Yeah, Scotty J. Rowe, who I think he's my favorite listener of ours because
He's great.
He seems like such a happy dude. He's a positive Star Wars fan, and he's just a big supporter of our show. So we love you, Scotty. He tagged us and a bunch of other people in this, and he's like, "You gotta check this out." So I watched it, and two things that stood out to
right
me.
away where it's go. Like about halfway through,
Yeah.
I'd say you're like,
Yeah.
okay, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
I know where this is going, but I'm laughing, giggling because just I can see it in my head, you know.
Yeah. Have you seen it yet?
No, I've seen it. I'm saying like
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I'm halfway
as you're
through, I'm
watching
like,
it, right.
I know what's gonna happen. They're gonna show him tossing it off and credits, and you're just waiting for it. When it delivers, it still delivers.
Yeah, it was like a Family Guy version, like the Family Guy cut.
Yeah.
It was really funny, but I never realized how stark. I know Rian Johnson talked about this, that they had trouble with the fact that the continuity wasn't there because it was cloudy when JJ filmed the end of The Force Awakens,
Yep.
and it was sunny when they filmed the beginning of TLJ. It's pretty stark. You can tell the difference there. So ILM couldn't do anything about Mother Nature on that one, but just a funny clip, and I don't know if I hope Mark Hamill's seen it because I'm sure he'd get a kick out of it too because he made a lot of jokes about the cliffhanger at the end of TFA.
At the end of Tina Fey?
yes, at the end of Tina Fey.
At the end of Tina Fey's show 30 Rock, Mark Hamill just looked at the camera and they went to credits.
What would have been the
Shut up, James.
Man, what would have been the difference if they actually did do that at the end? Like, what would our 2-year discussion of what we think The Last Jedi was going to be had
it would have
that
prepared
been
us a
the
lot
ending
more
of
for
Force
what it was going to
Awakens?
be. I think it would have prepared us a lot
Yeah,
more for what it was going
possibly.
to be.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been, I don't know if it would have been taken as much of a funny joke because we built up all this serious thing in our heads about it and then he did it. If he did it at the end, people would have been like, oh my God, why is he doing that?
Yeah, that's true too. I also for Resistance, I love that, by the way, the whole cut. That's awesome.
Thank
I
you,
love
Scotty.
it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it when fans do that stuff. Also, this week, I always like to give a shout out to the people who are creating Star Wars art. I was looking around, and on Twitter, I found a couple people. There's you guys have seen these before. They're like the Calvin and Hobbes style, the little Kylo Ren, you know. And in this case,
Yeah.
the older character, his dad was playing like a Luke Skywalker, and this was actually originally animated by someone named Brian Kessinger, and you can find him at Brian Kessinger. And then there was an animation done by at Star Wars Photoshop, and it's PHT-SHP. But they actually animated the smaller, Calvin character in his Kylo Ren outfit and the older Luke Skywalker character, and they're doing snow angels on the crate ground, and Kylo Ren is creating a snow angel and is very concerned that the person next to him is unable to move the salt to make a thing. So I just thought it was a clever little thing
That is
and
clever.
wanted to shout it out. Also this week, I always love minimalist work, artwork that just is super clean, super small, and yet they're able to portray a very cool and visual image. So at Ubelator, that's UEBELATOR, They created some really awesome Last Jedi minimalistic work, and I think they've done other stuff like that in the past. If you guys are looking for some background, some wallpaper, stuff like that, absolutely head over and check out Jubilator on Twitter. And the last one is a person named Steve D. Anderson, and that's at Steve D. Anderson. He created a really awesome poster that is actually it's kind of like a Drew Struzan kind of thing, but it's in his own style and how he set it up. It's a really, really, really cool poster. And he teamed up with Poster Spy at Poster Spy, and they're going to be doing a giveaway. So go check out the poster, go look at it, and then follow the rules, and you might actually just be able to win it for free. So I just got to celebrate some good Star Wars artists this week for Resistance Expanded Universe.
Awesome.
All right, thanks, James.
And we'll probably throw the links to all those in the description.
Yeah, very easy to check it out. If you're listening on YouTube, they're down in the description. If you're listening on SoundCloud, swipe over or check the description. It's
right
there. Yeah, swipe right.
All right, thanks, James. And if you guys have something cool you want to share with us that's fan-made, or are you doing something for charity work or anything like that that's tied to Star Wars, send it our way. Use the hashtag ResistanceEU, and we will definitely check those out. Back to you, John.
All right, thanks, Pat. And also, if you want to shoot them over on email, resistancebroadcast@gmail.com. Guys, Star Wars fandom is the best fandom, period. I think all of us here are biased, but we agree with that. Everyone's so creative, and we love it, and we're really trying to build this segment up. And I wasn't sold on it at first, I'll admit, but it's awesome. I'm having fun with it. It's cool. Thank you so much for being a part of our podcast community. We have really seen a lot of growth, and it really is all thanks to you out there. So be sure you're subscribed to the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, or YouTube. And please take a second to rate us 5 stars on iTunes and like our videos on YouTube. Also, leave a comment. And keep spreading the word of our show to your friends who also love Star Wars. The more people we have, the better the show is. So bring them along for the ride. As Pat said, hop over to our store, buy a t-shirt. Check it out, tpublic.com/user/resistancebroadcast. I'll tell you what, next person who buys a Gary the Porg shirt and sends us a screenshot of their purchase will get a shout out and a plug of their choice on the next episode. As always, be sure to check in on StarWarsNewsNet.com, our website, for all of your Star Wars news and information. Every day we have new stuff on there, so stop by, check it out, stay up to date. James, where can people find you out there?
You can find me wearing my BB-8 socks today, putting them on one leg at a time. No, you can also find me on Twitter at MyraTrunks, MIRAHTRUNKS, and the same place on Instagram, posting pictures of my family and my little baby boy.
And then once my socks are on,
I make
gold records.
Put on my BB-8 socks one leg at a time. The only difference is between me and you is that once they're on, I make gold records.
Used to.
Well, I used to make gold records.
I have a gold record.
Oh, get that out of here.
I actually
Get
literally do
here.
have a gold record.
I love how you described have pictures of my family and my son.
Yeah, my ppictures of my whole family, but more importantly, my son. Let's put it that way.
All right. Pat, where are you at?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Gannon136 and Gannon136 over on the Cantina Forum. If you guys haven't already joined, there's over 8,000 members over there talking Star Wars every single day, every single moment. Oh my God, there's so many discussions going on over there. You can't even keep up with it, so don't even try, but hop in and enjoy the experience. It's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of people with different points of view, so go check it out.
Yeah, it basically replaces people standing in line at movie theaters for waiting for tickets. It's like the new place to hang out.
It's like waiting in line every day.
We're losing our toy stores, so instead...
Yeah, I want to plug that real quick. That was so sad hearing that Toys R Us is closing. So I want to give a quick shout out to Toys R Us for giving us some wonderful Force Friday events the past few years. They've done an absolutely wonderful job internationally and here in the U.S., and props to you guys. You guys have given us the love of Star Wars, and waiting out till midnight on weird September nights with some sketchy people who just don't want to talk to each other, but you still have fun anyways.
Yeah, it sucks that all those kids who didn't want to grow up because they were a Toys R Us kid now have no choice.
I'm a Toys R Us kid.
I'm looking at the stock market now, and yep, Toys R Us has now gone up 1.5%. So good job, Pat.
All right. Bill, where can people find you?
You guys can find me not at a Toys R Us. You can find me at Twitter at Star Wars Bill. You can find me writing on the site from time to time. You can also find me listening to The Princess Diarist on Audible. # not an ad. Great book. Highly recommend it. Thank you guys so much for listening. May the force be with you.
All right. And you guys can find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey and writing and editing over at StarWarsNewsNet.com. I am hoping my characters are still alive in Star Wars March Madness. So if they are, that means they will be available in the next round. So please keep voting for all of my characters. Thank you so much. I love you. As I was saying, round 2 of the Star Wars March Madness ends today. So our matchups of Luke versus Kylo Ren and Chewie versus Qui-Gon Jinn. So be sure to go vote now to decide who moves on in the coolest character tournament. Now, folks, we're going to be right back here with you on Monday morning to launch round 3 of that tournament with an all-new episode. So make sure you're subscribed and ready for our next transmission right here on the Resistance broadcast.